Hello, this is History Boys Fun Facts with Liam, and we're at the penultimate stage of this week, and this is about a vampire. Now, this isn't this vampire isn't a count by any means. He isn't like he hasn't inherited a state or a castle or some kind of royal position like Dracula or Count Orlok. But all the same, this vampire most likely inspired the likes of John Polidori, who was friends with Lord Byron and Mary Shelley. Lord Byron being a poet, and Mary Shelley writing Frankenstein at when they all had their holiday/vacation thing at Villa Diodati in Italy, or was it Switzerland? Either way, yeah, we all know that Mary Shelley won the scary story contest, but John Polidori wrote The Vampire, which had a character called Lord Ruthven in it, spelled Ruthven, and he's actually kind of he's referenced very much in by name in the overlooked vampire film, and they had a good take on the vampire myth from, I think, Caribbean mythology, well, Haitian, called a Sucriant, where they didn't have fangs, they had like bag lady fingers, to quote Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine. They had claws rather than fangs, traditional fangs to puncture veins and stuff like that. But this Lord Ruthven, who actually never became a vampire, he wanted to, in the film, played by, he's played by Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones. I always get that wrong. There's always a Freudian slip. Johnny Lee Miller, was in Trainspotting and Elementary and so on. And, you, if you're a Dexter fan like I am, he's known for being Jordan. Yeah, Jordan in Dexter in season 5, the leader of the Barrel Girl gang. But John Polidori wrote/published that a good 80 years before the most famous vampire novel there is, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Bram being short for Abraham. And yeah, this vampire, Jure Grando, was most likely a very real person who was persecuted, may have suffered from the awful disease porphyria, which is like the blue blood disease, and the reason why the whole blue blood thing with the royalty and the aristocrats, the upper class and the snobs and all the rest of it is because basically the blue blood stuff is literally what it says on the tin, or should I say the bladder or the urethra, where people like George III and his mum and all those kind of people, the kind of Germanic royals and / the Habsburgs as well, Hanoverians, and probably others, not just them, because there was some inbreeding involved. Yeah, they were called blue bloods because they urinated blood that wasn't oxygenated. All that kind of stuff. So maybe this Jure Grando, a farmer from Croatia, had that disease, or for some reason he was persecuted. People thought he was, an undead being that feasted on townspeople in Croatia. Whatever the case, he was around kind of mid to late 1500s, around the time of Henry VIII and so on and so forth. For from a little reference in my neck of the woods, and he inspired. I mean, there's always been some kind of vampire myth or blood-sucking demon kind of animalistic myth. Babylonians had them. Maybe cavemen even had them when they used to paint, pictures of bulls in cave networks in France. There's always some kind of boogeyman, disease boogeyman, zombie, monster, vampire type thing. Probably older than recorded time, but this Jure Grando, going back to the time where this was technically technically an Italian legend, because Croatia was like that. It has some weird associative history, but for locale and simplistic terms and narrowing it down, this is a farmer from what's now Croatia, who was believed to be some kind of blood drinking monster, vampire, and most likely inspired the likes of John Bolidori's The Vampire, and in turn inspired the vampire thing a little bit for Vlad the Impaler and Bram Stoker's Dracula, basically, because he himself turned the whole Vlad the Impaler into a literal monster, well, like a literal demonic undead monster who drank blood. But I would argue that, and this is going off a bit of a tangent, I would argue that Vlad the Impaler, the man, rather than the demonic monster, was probably actually more of a monster than when he allegedly became a vampire, according to legends. But yeah, this is supposed to be the oldest early modern vampire myth, is the Croatian farmer that most likely got unfairly persecuted, either because he was diseased or there was some kind of weird superstition going around, or plague, who knows. But anyway, that was the third slash penultimate episode of Liam's fun facts with Liam. And I will see you in the final one of this week, which is, of course, the fourth, obviously.